She just beat the most talked about player in women's tennis, and instead of gloating, she stood at the podium and told the world exactly why the crowd wasn't on her side. Amanda Anisimova walked off center court in Cincinnati, having taken down Alex Eala in 3 sets, and the first thing out of her mouth wasn't about her forehand or her serve. It was about the fans. She said she knew how loved Alex is, and for good reason. That's not a throwaway line. That's a top-tier player publicly acknowledging that her opponent might be the bigger draw in the building, right after she beat her. To understand why that quote matters, you need to understand what walking into a match against Alex Eala actually looks like right now. This wasn't just another round of a hard-court tournament. Eala has turned into the kind of player who doesn't have road games anymore. In Toronto, a 12,500-seat stadium filled up with flags and noise for her, win or lose. In Dubai, she pulled fans and even fellow pros to the sidelines just to watch her matches. And heading into Cincinnati, the numbers looked almost impossible on paper. The city itself has roughly 2,000 Filipino residents. Not enough to fill a single section, let alone a stadium built for over 11,000 people. But zoom out to the whole state of Ohio, and that number jumps to nearly 17,000. People weren't driving in from around the block. They were coming from hours away, crossing state lines, just to be in the building for her. So when Amanda Anisimova sat down for her pre-match press conference and was asked about facing Alex in this kind of environment, she didn't dodge it. She basically admitted up front that the crowd was going to be rooting for her opponent, and she said it plainly: she loves a packed stadium. She loves a good atmosphere, and she planned to feed off that energy rather than fight it. That's a mindset a lot of players don't have walking into a hostile-feeling crowd. Most players try to shut the noise out. Anisimova decided to use it. And then the match happened. 3 sets. Tight, physical, back-and-forth tennis. Eala actually had her moments. She had real chances in the 3rd set after grabbing early breaks, the kind of positioning where a lot of matches get closed out. But she couldn't hold on to it. Anisimova found her rhythm right in the middle of the match, started fighting her way back into points she looked shaky in early, and that shift ended up being the difference. By the end, Anisimova had turned a match that was slipping away into a straight statement win. What happened after the match is really the part worth talking about. In her on-court interview, Anisimova admitted something most players wouldn't say out loud after a win. She said she genuinely needed a pick-me-up in that match, and she got it from the crowd. Even though that crowd was overwhelmingly behind Alex. Think about that for a second. She's telling you the energy of a crowd rooting for her opponent is what helped carry her through a tough 3-setter. That's not resentment. That's respect. And then she went further, saying she knows exactly how loved Alex is, and for good reason. Coming from the player who just eliminated her, that hits differently than generic post-match sportsmanship. It's not a hollow line. It's someone acknowledging a phenomenon while standing directly in its path. And this isn't the first time Anisimova has said something like this about Eala. Alex Eala walked off the court in Toronto and looked up at the crowd one more time. She knew something the fans in the stadium did not know yet. She later told reporters she knew this was going to be her last time on that court for a while. Her amazing run in Toronto had just ended, but what she said after the loss showed a side of her that fans had not seen all week. Eala is 21 years old and comes from the Philippines. She had just lost to Belinda Bencic at the National Bank Open in Toronto. The score was 6-4, 6-0, and the match lasted only 73 minutes. It was a hard way to end a run that had shocked the tennis world. Eala had won 7 matches in a row before this loss, and fans across Toronto had packed the stands every single night to watch her play. After the match, Eala sat down for her press conference and did not hide how she felt. She said Bencic played really well and put her in tough situations all match. She admitted she was not able to get out of a certain mood on court, but she also said the week overall was a really good one, and that she was proud of the run she had just finished. Then came the moment that explains the title of this story. A reporter asked her about looking at the crowd and smiling as she walked off. Eala said she knew it was the last time she was going to be on that court for a while. She said the atmosphere all week had been incredible, and that it was hard to describe the feeling of standing in that stadium with the fans cheering for her every single point. This was not Eala's first big moment of the summer. Just days before Toronto, she won her first ever WTA title at the Mubadala DC Open in Washington. She beat the world number 3, Jessica Pegula, in the final. That win made her the first player from the Philippines to ever win a WTA singles title, and it pushed her ranking to a career high of number 20 in the world. She arrived in Toronto ranked 25th in the tournament, but the ticket sales did not match that ranking at all. Tournament director Carl Hale said her session sold close to 5,000 tickets, even though the smaller show court only holds 800 seats. Organizers had to move her match to the main stadium because the smaller court could not hold the number of fans who wanted to see her play. Hale said he had never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 create that kind of demand before. The crowd in Toronto turned into a sea of Philippine flags every night Eala played. Vendors even added Filipino adobo to the food stands for the first time in the tournament's history. Families who had never watched a tennis match in their lives showed up just to see her. That is the atmosphere Eala was talking about when she said she was grateful for her time in the city. Alex Eala walked through the toughest draw of her career and became the first player from the Philippines to ever win a double-E singles title. This isn't hype. This is the real-time rise of a superstar, and the entire tennis world stopped to react. Let's talk about who she beat, because this wasn't a lucky run. In the first round, she took down the Olympic champion, Qinwen Zheng. In the second round, she knocked out the defending champion, Leylah Fernandez. Then she beat Naomi Osaka, a 4-time major champion, and followed that up by eliminating the world No. 1 seed on her way to the final. 3 top seeds gone in a single week. Analysts on the desk called it exactly what it was. She absorbed the power from big hitters like Zheng and Osaka and turned it right back against them, with a return game that's become, in their words, absolutely deadly. Then came the final against Jessica Pegula, and this is where the story gets wild. Pegula came out sharp and took the first set 6-4. Eala clawed back into the second set, winning it on serve, and then the rain hit. Play was suspended. The match got frozen mid-second set, and both players had to walk off, go to bed, and come back the next day to finish it a final that literally spanned 24 hours across 2 separate days. When they resumed, something had shifted. Pegula, who had just 20 unforced errors before the delay, came back out and racked up 30 unforced errors after it, wildly uncharacteristic for a player with her experience. Meanwhile, Eala just got bolder. Analysts described her as fearless, aggressive early in points, cranking up the miles per hour on her forehand, and she closed it out by taking the third set 6-1 to win her first career WTA title. Think about what that means for Pegula too. This was her 23rd career WTA final, and she just went to the negative side of her record, now sitting at 11 wins and 12 losses in title matches. And yet she stood on that podium and, with total class, told the crowd how much Eala has transformed women's tennis. How everyone in the building was there to see her play. That's the kind of sportsmanship that made this moment even bigger. Now let's get inside Eala's head, because her own words after the match are where this story really hits. She said the last 24 hours were a blur. She'd warmed up what felt like 1,000 times waiting through the delay, and when she finally hit that match point, she says she basically blacked out. Everything just came rushing at her at once.